cumulative one question paper physics. First question: a cube of ice is floating in a liquid of relative density 1.25 contained in a beaker. When the ice melts, the level of the liquid in the beaker. So what happens here? Here the relative density for first person, the relative density D is equal to 1.25 relative density. Next, so this substance is one liquid, so its relative density is 1.25. Next, when the ice melts, the level of liquid in the beaker, what happens? So ice means water, but generally the density of water is dW is equal to 1 gram per cc. But here the density of a liquid, the density of liquid is greater than density of water. So what happens here? When ice melts, what happens? The level of liquid rises. Okay. So which option is correct for first question? First option is correct. Answer 1. First option is correct. The level of liquid rises. Next, second question. Water stands at a depth capital H in a tank whose side walls are vertical. A small hole is made in one of the walls at a height small h below the water surface. The stream of water emerging from the hole strikes the floor at a distance capital from the tank. So where capital is given by what is the horizontal line. For second question, this is one tank. So this tank is filled with certain liquid up to what height? Capital H. So up to height capital H, liquid is filled. But for side walls, here small hole is made. So this is small hole is made. What happens here? The liquid coming out. The liquid coming out from the tank. But here hole is made at what depth from the free surface of the liquid? This is free surface. From free surface to hole distance is small h. Okay. Here the liquid is coming out from the tank. What is the horizontal distance? Horizontal range. So at what distance the efflux of liquid will reach the ground. Okay. That is called range. What is the horizontal range? Okay. So first thing, we know that when a liquid is coming out from the narrow orifice, the speed of efflux will be equal to velocity gained by freely falling body. Here what is velocity gained by freely falling body? V is equal to square root of 2gh. Next, at what height the liquid falls from the tank? What is the level of liquid column height is capital H. But in a narrow hole is made at what depth from the free surface h? What is the net displacement? The displacement of fluid S is equal to capital H minus H. So S is equal to capital H minus H. That is vertical displacement. Okay. Next, from S is equal to ut plus half at square. S is equal to ut plus half at square. When S is equal to H minus H u, initial velocity. What is the water behaves like a freely falling body? For freely falling body, what is the initial velocity? 0. So this term becomes 0. Plus half into A is equal to G into T square. Okay. Or from this equation, H minus H is equal to half G T square. Or to take root left hand, 2 into capital H minus small h is equal to G T square. Or T is equal to T square is equal to 2 into H minus H by G. Or T is equal to square root of 2 into H minus H divided by G. So what is T here? The time taken by a liquid to reach the ground. So it takes how much time to reach the ground? What is the time period for T is equal to square root of 2 into H minus H into G. Okay, so this is time taken. Next, we know the speed. So generally what is the general form for speed is equal to distance by time. Here the S is distance, horizontal distance. Horizontally, the liquid travels how much distance? That is range. So V is equal to R by T. From this R is equal to V into T. Then R is equal to V. What is V here? square root of 2gh into t. Time t is equal to square root of 2 into h minus h by small g. Or r is equal to, let both having square root of 2gh into 2 into h minus h divided by g, where g gets cancelled. Remaining r is equal to 2 is 4, square root 4 2, remaining 2 square root of h into capital H minus h. So this is range or horizontal distance traveled by a liquid. So which option is correct? Third option is correct. So answer is third. Third option is correct. Next, third question. Two capillary tubes A and B of equal radius or A equal to R B equal to R. Here two capillary tubes are given. RA is equal to RB is equal to R. That is the radius of two capillary tubes are equal and equal length. So their length also equal. LA is equal to LB is equal to L. Are held horizontally. When the same pressure difference P is maintained across each tube, the rate of flow of water in each is Q. Now see here two capillary tubes. So this is first capillary tube. Next this is second capillary tube. Actually first these two tubes are held horizontally. Their length is same, radius also same. Now in the case of liquid is going through the both capillary tubes individually. What is the rate of flow of liquid is Q. Next, if the tubes are connected in series and the same pressure difference P is maintained across the combination, the rate of flow through the combination will be. Now next case, these two capillary tubes like that. These two capillary tubes are joined in series. These two capillary tubes are joined in series. What is the rate of flow of liquid? We know that from Poisson equation, rate of flow of liquid V is equal to pi p r power 4 by 8 eta L. 8 eta L. But according to Gauss statement, here individually the pressure difference across each tube is, each capillary tube is P. Next, when they are connected in series, again the pressure difference is same P. That is where P is constant, where pi constant, same fluid flowing, so that's why eta also constant. Okay. So then V is proportional to R power of 4 by L. Remove this constant. V is proportional to R power of 4. Okay. First case. What is the rate of flow of fluid? So in first case, what happened? They have given rate of flow of fluid Q. So that is Q is directly proportional to R power of 4 by L. In first case. Next. Now these two tubes are connected in series. Now these two tubes are connected in series. What happens here? Radius remains same. But what happens? Effective length changes. Why? Because first tube length L, second tube length L. So what happens? Total length is equal to 2L. But radius remains same. So in the second case, what is the rate of flow of fluid? Q dash is proportional to radius is same constant. By effective length is what happens? 2L. Okay. Now from these two equations. Q by Q dash is equal to R power of 4 by L. Give us in numerator denominator. Next 2L by R power of 4. Where R power of 4, L gets cancelled. Q by Q dash is equal to 2. But we want Q dash. Q dash is equal to Q by Q dash is equal to 2 by. So what happens? The rate of flow of fluid becomes half. So which option is correct? First option is correct. Okay. Next. Fourth question. Where water rises to a height h in a capillary tube held vertically in a beaker containing water. Okay. If the capillary tube is inclined at an angle 30 degree with the water surface, the height to which water rises will be. Actually, the vertical height. Here, vertical height does not depend upon angle of inclination. So, what happens again? If the angle changes, same. The vertical height raised by liquid in the capillary tube remains same. So that's why which option is correct? Second option is correct. Answer is second. So here vertical height does not depend upon angle of inclination. Next, fifth question. What is flowing through a tube of radius smaller with a speed v? If this tube is joined to another tube of radius r by 2, what is the speed of water in the second case? According to equation of continuity, what is the equation of continuity? A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. A1 is area cross section of first tube. A2 is area cross section of second tube. So area cross section formula pi r square. A1 is pi r1 square. V1 is equal to A2 pi r2 square V2. Both sides pi by gets cancel. Okay. See again. What is flowing through a tube of radius small r with the speed v? That means here first tube radius r1 equal to r, speed v1 is equal to v. Next, if this tube is joined to another tube of radius r by 2, so another tube of radius is what is r2 is equal to r by 2. But what is the value of v? Okay, we substitute these values in our equation. R1 is equal to r square, v1 is equal to v. Next, r2 is equal to r by 2 whole square. V2 is equal to unknown. So r square v is equal r square r by 2 whole square, r square by 4 v. Both side r square gets cancelled. Then cross multiplication. V2 is equal to 4. V2 is equal to 4. So which option is correct for 50%? Fourth option. So answer is 4. Fourth option is correct. Next, sixth question. Sixth one. A small sphere of volume V falling in a viscous fluid acquires a terminal velocity Vt. The terminal velocity of the sphere of volume V of the same material and falling in the same fluid will be what happens? Here based on terminal velocity. Here what is the formula for terminal velocity? Vt is equal to 2 by 9 into r square g into rho minus sigma by theta. Okay. In first case, sphere volume is given. What is the volume of first sphere is V. Falling in some viscous fluid acquires a terminal velocity Vt. Next, the terminal velocity of another sphere of volume V of the same material and falling through the same fluid is how much? Okay. So from this equation, here only terminal velocity and volume is given. So here in this equation, volume not given. So generally the sphere volume formula. What is the formula for volume of a sphere? V is equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube. Do cross multiplication. Then r cube is equal to 3v by 4 pi. 3v by 4 pi. R is equal to 3v by 4 pi whole power of 1 by 3. Next, here terminal velocity Vt is equal to formula 2 by 9 into r square. R is radius of sphere. What is formula for radius of sphere? R equal to 3v by 4 pi whole power of 1 by 3. So in place of r, 3v by 4 pi whole power of 1 by 3 square r square whole square into rho into g into rho minus sigma by eta. But in the given statement, here both spheres falling through the same fluid, theta constant, gravity constant, next rho minus sigma also constant. So 2 by 9 also constant. So then Vt is proportional to 3v by 4 pi. Here 1 by 3 whole power of 2 by 3. Vt is proportional to where 3 number 4 by constant remaining volume power of 2 by 3. Okay, next. So first Vt proportions to V power of 2 by 3. Vt by V dash is equal to V power of 2 by 3 divided by V dash power of 2 by 3. First case terminal velocity Vt. Second case terminal velocity unknown. So Vt dash is unknown. is equal. First case volume is V power of 2 by 3. Next V dash. Second case, what is the volume of the second sphere is 8V. V dash is equal to 8V whole power of 2 by 3. Okay. Or Vt by Vt dash is equal to V power of 2 by 3 divided by 8V. How can this one? 8 how can this 2 cube whole power of 2 by 3 V power of 2 by 3. V power of 2 by 3 gets cancelled. Next V3 gets cancelled. Next remaining Vt by Vt dash is equal to 1 by 2 power of 2 square 4. Then Vt dash is equal to 4 into Vt. So this is terminal velocity of second sphere. Okay. So which option is correct for sixth question? For sixth question, last option. Okay. Fourth option is correct. Next, seventh question. So full heavy sweating, sir. Full sweating. Too much, huh? Next, seventh question. Two spherical soap bubbles formed in vacuum have diameters 3 mm and 4 mm. They coalesce to form a single spherical bubble. If the temperature remains unchanged, the diameter of the bubbles of form will be. Okay. So here two small soap bubbles are given, but these two soap bubbles are melted with each other. First soap bubble radius R1 is equal to 3 mm. Second soap bubble radius R2 is equal to 4 mm. Okay, these two soap bubbles are merged to form a single spherical bubble. Temperature remains unchanged. The diameter of the bubbles are formed. So what is the diameter or radius of a second soap bubble? But temperature remains constant. According to Bayes law, P equal to constant. So for first soap bubble P1 V1, for second soap bubble P2 V2 is equal to dV. Okay. Where P is pressure. We know that what is the excess pressure inside soap bubble? 4T by R. So P1 is equal to 4T by R1. Next V1 is volume. Soap bubble is in the form of spherical shape. What is the formula for volume of a sphere? 4 by 3 pi R2 R1 cube first bubble plus P2 is equal to 4P by R2 P2 4 by 3 pi R2 cube, that is equal to P 4P by R, where P is excess pressure inside a big bubble, big soap bubble. The volume of big soap bubble is 4 by 3 pi R2. Okay, where Q R1. Here Q2 R2, here Q2 R2 is cancelled. Next, remaining on left hand side. On left hand side, which is common, 4P into 4 pi by 3 common. Here 4P into 4 pi by 3. Here also 4P into 4 pi by 3 common. Next, remaining R1 square plus R2 square. That is equal to right hand side. For right hand side also, for right hand side remaining 4T into 4 pi by 3 into R square. And both side 4T, 4 pi by 3, 4 pi by 3 gets cancelled. So remaining R square is equal to R1 square plus R2 square. R is equal to square root of R1 square plus R2 square. R is equal to, what is R here? Radius of big soap bubble. R1, R2, individual soap bubble radius. What is the radius of first bubble? 3 square. What is the radius of second bubble? 4 mm, 4 square. Then R is equal to square root of 9 plus 16, that is equal to square root of 25. That is equal to 5 mm. So that is radius of a big soap bubble R is equal to 5 millimeter. So which option is correct for question number 7? First option is correct. First option is correct. Okay. Next, 8th question. Work W is required to be done to form a spherical bubble of volume V from a given soap solution. How much work is needed to form a spherical bubble of volume to V? So you know that the amount of work required to form a soap bubble. What is the formula? 8% work done W is equal to 8 pi R square into D. Where R is radius. Again use this formula. Radius R is equal to formula. Why? Because soap bubble is in the form of shape of spherical shape. So the radius R is equal to 3 by 4 pi into 4 power of 1 by 3. Now work done W is equal to 8 pi T into R square. R is equal to 3 by 4 pi 4 power of 1 by 3 square. Then W is equal to 8 pi T into 3V by 4 pi 4 power of 2 by 3. 4 power of 2 by 3. Here also same. W is right. First case, work required to be done to form a spherical bubble of volume big. First case, how much work is done W? What the volume of soap bubble is big. Next, how much work is needed to form a spherical bubble of volume 2 big. So here we want to increase the volume. We want to increase the volume. How much work is required? Okay. And then again see from this equation 8 by T constant to 3 by 4 by constant. So work is directly proportional to V power of 2 by 3. V power of 2 by 3. W1 by W2 is equal to V1 power of 2 by 3 by V2 power of 2 by 3. W1 is first case. What is the amount of work done? W1 is equal to W. But second case work done unknown. First case volume is V is given 2 by 3. Second case volume is 2V 4 power of 2 by 3. Okay. W by W2 is equal to 3 power of 2 by 3 divided by this 102 power of 2 by 3 into 3 power of 2 by 3. 3 power of 2 by 3. 3 power of 2 by 3 gets cancelled. Next, remain W by W2 is equal to 1 by 2 power of 2 by 3. Or W by W2 is equal to 1 by 2 power of 2 by 3 can be as 2 square 4 power of 1 by 3. Is there any change? No change. Again 2 power of 2 by 3. W by W2 is equal to 1 by 2 square means 4. 4 power of 1 by 3. W2 is equal to 4 power of 1 by 3 into W. So this is amount of work done. W2 is equal to 4 power of 1 by 3 into W. So which option is correct for 8%? Fourth option. So for 8% also fourth option correct. Next, 9th question. A soap bubble is divided into 27 equal bubbles. Find the ratio of pressure difference across larger bubble and smaller bubble. First case. First one, big soap bubble is given. But the soap bubble is divided how many equal parts? 27 equal bubbles. 27 equal bubbles means the total volume of big bubble. The total volume of big bubble will be equal to total volume of 27 bubbles. Okay. Here suppose the volume of big bubble is 4 by 3 pi R. This is the volume of big bubble, which is equal to volume of 27 small bubbles. So how many bubbles are there? 27 into volume of each bubble 4 by 3 pi R dash 2. R dash is radius of each small bubble. Okay. On both sides 4 by 3 pi gets cancelled. Remaining R cube is equal to 27 into R by 2. Next, R1 cube is equal to R cube by 27. Or R dash is equal to R larger bubble and smaller bubble. For larger bubble what is pressure P1. For smaller bubble what is pressure P2. So P equal to 4T by R dash. You know that R dash. Can write P2 is equal to 4T by what is R dash value? R by T. That is equal to T by R. T. Next ratio. P1 by P2 is equal to what is P1? 4T by R divided by P2. Reverse in numerator denominator. R by 12T. R gets cancelled. T gets cancelled. 4 3 is cancelled. Next P1 by P2 is equal to P1 by P2 is equal to 1 by 3, but we want P2. P2 is equal to 3 into P1. So what happens? The pressure, excess pressure inside a small bubble becomes 3 times the pressure inside a big bubble. So pressure increases by how many times? 3 times. So which option is correct for 9th question? Or there is ratio. No need P1 by P2 or P1 is to P2. P1 is to P2 is equal to 1 is to 3. So which option is correct for 9th question? Third option is correct. Next 10th question. A soap bubble of radius 3 cm is placed on another soap bubble of radius 4 cm. Okay. Find the radius of soap film separating two bubbles. Here we want to find the common radius. Here common radius RC is equal to R1 R2 by R2 minus R. Then RC is equal to R1. What is the radius of first bubble is 3. Second 4 by R2 minus R1 4 minus 3. That is equal to 12 cm. So which option is correct? Second option is correct. For 10th question, second option. Next 11th question. The surface tension of liquid is 4 Newton per meter. If a film is held on a ring of area 2 cm square, find the surface energy. Surface energy. So the surface energy is equal to what is the surface energy? That is surface energy is equal to 2T into A. So that is also film. Film having how many surfaces? So 2 surfaces. So then surface energy that is equal to into what is the surface tension? 4 Newton per meter. Area cross section. What is the film is head on a ring of area 2 cm square. Area cross section 2 cm square. For that one conversion to meter square. 2 into 10 to the power of minus 2 whole square. That is 2 into 10 to the power of minus 4. Okay. So that is equal to 4 to 8 to 16. 16 into 10 to the power of minus 4 joule. So which option is correct? Second option is correct. So for 11th question, second option correct. Next. 12th question. A non-viscous liquid A non-viscous liquid flows in a tube from left to right. At two positions, cross-sectional areas are A1 and A2 and densities ρ1 and ρ2, velocities v1 and v2 respectively. Find the v1 by v2. Okay. So here mass is same, but density, velocity, area cross-section different. Again use equation of continuity. A1 v1 ρ1 is equal A2 v2 ρ2. What they are asking? v1 by v2. So from this equation v1 by v2 is equal to how it is one A1 A2 ρ2 by A1 ρ1. Okay, v1 by v2 equal to A2 by A1 into ρ2 by ρ1. So which option is correct? Third option is correct. So for 2nd question, third option is correct. Okay. Next 13th question. lift. Velocity of liquid comes out is v and range is r. If lift is accelerating in upward direction, lift is accelerating in upward direction. You know that here actually one tank is there, a tank having narrow hole. What happens? The liquid is coming out to a tank. Okay. So when the liquid is coming out from the tank to a narrow hole, what is the speed of reflex? V equal to square root of 2gh. Next, what is the range for log is equal to 2 into square root of h into h minus h. Okay. What they are asking? See options. Velocity increases or range increases or range remains same. Both 1 and 3 are correct. See. So actually the tank is placed in one lift, but the lift is accelerating upward. The lift is accelerating upward here, which what happens here? G value increase. Acceleration due to gravity increase. When acceleration due to gravity increase, what happens here? Speed increases. So speed of reflex increases, but range remains same. Why? Because here range does not depend upon G value. Only speed depends. Speed depends upon G. If G changes, V changes. G increases, V increases. But R remains same, does not change. So that's why which option is correct? First option correct. V increases. Second option R increases, wrong. Third option R remains same. So here V increases, R remains same. So which option is correct? Both the first and third options are correct. So that's why which option is suitable for this one? Fourth option. So answer 4 is correct. That is first option and second option. Both are correct. Next 14th question. A tank is filled with water up to a height 1 meter. When a hole is made at a distance 75 centimeter below the level of water, what is the horizontal range of water? Here we want to find the horizontal range. Same, we use this equation. See what is the formula for range? R is equal to 2 into square root of h into capital H minus h. Or R is equal to 2 into square root of h is the depth of a hole from the free surface of liquid. At what depth here hole is made? 75 centimeter below the level of water. So this is 75 centimeter. That one converts into meters. 0.75 into capital H. Up to what depth? Up to what height the liquid is filled? 1 meter. H is equal to 1 minus small h is 0.75. 0.07. If you will find this one, you will get range is equal to, here range R is equal to, then actually root 3 by 2 meter. So which option is correct? For third option is correct. Next, 15th question. Liquid flows through a horizontal tube of variable diameter. The pressure is largest where? Where the pressure is more. So generally according to Bernoulli's principle, when a fluid flows with a high speed, which creates low pressure, here pressure is low, speed is more. Okay. So according to Young's statement, where the pressure is large, where the velocity is least, pressure is large. Okay. So which option is correct? Second option is correct. So velocity is lowest. So answer second. Next, 16th question. The breaking stress of aluminum is 7.5 into 10 to the power of 7 Newton per meter square. The greatest length of aluminum wire that can hang vertically without breaking is. Here density of aluminum is given. Here we want to find the greatest length of aluminum wire that can hang vertically without breaking. Okay. So we know that here stress is equal to, what is the force acting for unit area. Stress is equal, force acting is equal to this one mg by area cross section. Stress is equal m. Generally from density is equal to mass by volume. Mass is equal to volume into density into g divided by a. Stress is equal to volume of that is one a into l into rho g divided by a. A equal to L rho into G. Here stress is given, density is given, G value given 9.8. But find maximum length L. So from this equation, L is equal to stress by rho into G. Or L is equal to how much stress is applied? Breaking stress of aluminium 7.5 into 10 to the power of 7 Newton per meter by density of aluminium is given. What is the density of aluminium? 2.7 into 10 to the power of 3 into G. Here G value unknown. That is the acceleration to be value 9.8. You simplify this one. You will get L is equal to 2.83 into 10 to the power of 3 meters. That is required length of aluminum wire. Okay, so which option is correct? Third option is correct. 16% third option. Next, 71. A load of 2 kg produces an extension of 1 millimeter in a wire of 3 meter in length and 1 millimeter in diameter. The Young's modulus of wire will be, what is the Young's modulus of wire? Extension, elongation given, length given, diameter is given. First see, diameter D is equal to 1 millimeter, or D is equal to 1 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter. Radius R is equal to half into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter. Area cross section by A is equal to pi r square. Then A is equal to pi into the R value 1 by 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 whole square. So then A is equal to pi by 4 into 10 to the power of minus 6 meters square. That is area cross section of wire. Okay. Next, length is given. What is the length of a wire? Length of a wire is 3 meter. That is equal to 3 meter. Elongation is given. What is the elongation given? That is equal to 1 millimeter. That is equal to 1 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter. But find the Young's modulus of the wire. Now what is the Young's modulus formula? The ratio of longitudinal stress into longitudinal strain is called Young's modulus. Next mathematical formula, FL by A into delta. Then Y is equal to what is force applied. How much force is applied? A load of 2 kg produces an extension of 1 millimeter. Here load is F is equal to, here F is equal to load mg into L by A into delta L. Then Y is equal to G value 9.8 into the length 3 divided by area cross section pi by 4 into 10 to the power of minus 6 into delta L 1 into 10 to the power of minus 3. This simplify this one. You will get Young's modulus of given wire. Y is equal to 7.48 into 10 to the power of 10 Newton per meter square. So, which option is correct for 70%? Third option is correct. Third option is correct. Next, 18th one. A steel wire of diameter 2 millimeter has a breaking strength of 4 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton. What is the breaking force of similar steel wire of diameter 1.5 millimeter? Okay. Here 2 wires are given. The diameter is given. For first wire, breaking strength is given 4 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton. But what is the breaking force required for second wire? Okay. Here Young's F by A equal to constant. So here F is proportional to A, or F is proportional to A equal to pi r square. Here A is equal to pi r square, or A is equal to R is equal to D by 2, pi D square by 4. Okay. So F1, what is the relation between force and diameter also? Directly proportional to square of diameter. F1 by F2 is equal to D1 square by D2 square. F1 is force required for first wire. What is the breaking strength of first wire? 4 into 10 to the power of 5 by F2. Breaking force required for second wire unknown. Okay, next diameter. What is the diameter of first wire? 2 millimeter. 2 square means 4 by D2 1.5 square. 4 into 10 to the power of 5 divided by F3 is equal to 4 divided by, here 1.5 3 by 2 whole square. 3 by 2 whole square means 9 by 4. Reversing this one into 4. Here 1 4 gets cancelled. Then F2 is equal to 9 into 10 to the power of 5 divided by 4. Okay. So 4 to the 8. Next remaining 10. Next 4 to 5. Then F2 is equal to 2.25 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton. So, for second wire, how much braking force is required? 2.25 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton. 2.25 kilowatt is one. F3 is equal to 2.3 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton. So, which option is correct for 18%? First option. First option is correct. Next, 19th question. A spherical ball contracts in volume by 0.01% when subject to a normal uniform pressure of 100 atmosphere. The bulk modulus of its material is, what is the bulk modulus? Okay. Here change in volume, delta V by V is equal to minus V by V, that is bulk modulus of bulk modulus V is equal to minus PV by delta V by V. Here delta V by V given. What is the delta V by V? How much percentage changes volume? 0.01%. So that is the change in volume delta V. V initial volume. Delta V is equal to 0.01%. So this 100 delta V equal to 0.01 by 100 into V. Okay, next. Pressure is given. What is the pressure? P is equal to 100 atmosphere. 100 atmosphere. That equal 100 into 1 atmosphere is equal to how many Pascal? 1.013 into 10 to the power of 5 Pascal. Okay, so putting this one you will get bulk modulus. Where delta V 0.01 V by 100 divided by initial volume V, that is equal minus. Actually this one taken as negative. Why? Because volume is decreases. Minus contracts. Okay. Minus P equal to 100 into 1.013 into 10 to the power of 5 divided by bulk modulus. Also negatives and cancel, V gets cancelled. Okay. Simplify this one. You will get bulk modulus. Here bulk modulus P is equal to. Here P is equal to 1.01 into 10 to the power of 11 Newton per meter square. Answer is first option is correct. Next, 28th question. Which of the following is the graph showing stress strain variation for elastometers? For elastometers, stress increases, stress changes exponentially with strain. Stress changes exponentially with the strain. So that's why which graph is correct here, which is varies with exponentially, third graph. So for 28%, third option is correct. For 28%, option third is correct. Next, 21. The Poisson ratio of material is 0.5. If a force is applied to a wire of this material, there is a decrease in the cross-sectional area by 4%. The percentage increase in the length is percentage increase in the length. So generally we know that area cross section A is equal to pi r square, pi constant. A is proportional to r square. Delta A is equal to delta A by A is equal to this one 2 into delta r by r. Okay. Where delta r by r given? What is the value? Delta r by r. There is a decrease in cross sectional area by how much percentage given? 4%. Area is not given. So here the decrease in area delta A by A. Delta A by A is given how much here? 4%. 4% means delta A by A equal to 4% is equal to 2 into delta R by R. 4% means how many is 4 by 100. That is equal to 2 into delta R by R. But we know that Poisson ratio. Poisson ratio sigma is equal to the ratio of lateral contraction divided by longitudinal elongation. Lateral contraction by longitudinal elongation. Here we want to find longitudinal elongation. Here what is longitudinal elongation? Delta L by L is equal to delta R by R divided by sigma. So then delta L by L is equal to what is the value of delta R by R? Here 2 into delta R by R equal to 4 by 100. Delta R by R is equal to 2 by 100. So 2 by 100 divided by sigma. Poisson ratio given. What is the value of Poisson ratio? Sigma is equal to 0.5. That is equal to 0.5. వచ్చేసిందా కంప్లైంట్ సార్ ఏమన్నా